So, in your own words, firstly, how long have you been sober as of today?
As of today, so what is it today? The 28th? So
The
68
first.
days. Oh,
Yep.
69 days
We are in
sober.
March now.
Yeah, yeah, so
Amazing.
69. Yeah.
Um, okay, great. So, can you walk us through what life was like before you and I had our conversation and you discovered Breathe Sober? What was going on in your life? What had you tried, and what kind of mindset did you have at that time?
So, what I tried was I tried doing those 1 month, 3 month sober things, and those they were the success, but white knuckling. So like just super thirsty to like drink again right after that, and then doing the whole circle of back and forth with being sober and drinking, and then it turned to heavy drinking. Then I'd be like, oh, let's get sober again, but there was nothing that was sticking. So life was not great during those sober times, and it wasn't great during those drinking times. I felt like really hopeless and relentless, impatient, negative. I couldn't see, I couldn't see like a bright light at the end of the tunnel of the way I was living. So it was it was hard. It created a lot of mental health issues with me. I went, I guess, really heavy drinking started during my postpartum journey, and I was already experiencing postpartum depression, anxiety, and then I got psychosis as well. So, adding alcohol to that, I didn't really know how to handle all this hormonal fluctuation. And then I started drinking heavily and then doing these periodic sober breaks. So it increased my anxiety, increased my depression. And I was just, yeah, feeling just completely hopeless of what life was going to be like, of trying to think positive about the future. I was very stuck.
Seems like it was a vicious circle where you would go
Mhm.
through periods of sobriety, but while you're not drinking, you're basically, that's all you're thinking about, all you're waiting for.
Yeah.
And then starting to drink again for it to get bad enough that you're like, okay, I need to stop again and then start again. So it's like a detox and retox process
Mhm.
of just going, okay, I feel like anyone who's listening to this can probably relate to this because it was like that for me as well, you know. And you're right. It does sound like, or it does feel like there's no bright light at the end of the tunnel. It's just dark and you're just walking. Um, what was the biggest problem that when you joined Breathe Sober, that it was the method, the process, what problem did that solve for you?
Um, when I when I started like getting into the habits and learning through phase one and learning meditation, I already had a glimpse of, previous years of using meditation, but I never used the breath work. But with that combination, um, I also didn't hold myself accountable before of like, hey, let's go to the gym. Let's, do things that make yourself feel good throughout the day. And that's what changed when I came to Bree Sober. Like I repetitively say in this group that this is not like AA. This is very, very much different. It's not a negative place. It's not a, hey, I relapsed and somebody smiling away in the corner being like, yeah, we knew you were gonna relapse. It's
That's the
not like
worst thing, yeah.
exactly. And it's not, if even if you want to be spiritual or you want to be religious in this group, that is completely fine, but it's not in the program of, hey, let's start reading Bible scripture, because some people like myself do not connect with that, especially being raised Roman Catholic. I did not. I was very much against a lot of the things as I grew up, and I was very forced. So it feels again like it's a forced group, and it's not my type of people either. So the connection, I guess, would be number one of how many people are, driven people, motivated people, that have goals, that want goals, are in this group. So just seeing the difference from that, from the regular AA, traditional AA groups, that was really comforting. And the breath work and meditation and learning habits and holding myself accountable for those habits, it's just now become habit. So it's no longer of like, oh, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. My brain's just like, do it.
I love that. It's and you hit on something very important just now because one of the biggest fear that we have is of the unknown, right? Like when you first joined the program, you met with me where it's like, all right, so everything you've been doing up till now, we can go ahead and forget about that. Here's all this new stuff. Learn it. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, okay, everything is new. And that's that initial resistance. And that's kind of all it is, where you're like, this, I don't know how to do this, and I'm not motivated to do it. So I'm just not going to do it, right? Whereas
Hmm.
once you start doing it and the after effects of every breathwork session, it ends with a high. It ends with dopamine, endorphins. It ends with relaxation. It ends with a lot of positive feelings, and our brain picks up on that. And
Hmm.
naturally, our nervous system's job is to automate the things that we like doing, that we get joy from, and this becomes one of those things. So, of course, by now, you've reached a point where you would miss it if you didn't do it, right?
Hmm.
You would notice, you would feel the difference. That's what it is. That's what this whole
Yeah.
thing is about.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just rewiring
100%.
and starting to live in a different way. So, when did you know? Like, take us to that exact moment where you had the realization that, holy shit, things are different now and I don't feel the same way, and, that the shift had happened.
Um, so it happened, I guess I would say, when the incident happened at work. That's when I knew that even with the little time that I did have, an incident like that, like let's say if we take this all away, I probably would have ended up drinking and being hungover and not being able to process these emotions, these traumatizing emotions, big emotions, if I did not have breath work, if I did not know how to try to regulate. I mean, the incident itself, and I will just describe it to everybody. I'm a pretty open book about it. So, a worker had fallen through a skylight 30 feet down to a concrete slab. He broke two vertebrae in his back and shattered his ankle. I was the first responder, acting as a paramedic, as I have the training for it. I was the first responder to be on the scene and help the worker. Um, the worker was combative. He was screaming. He also started becoming faintish and kept nodding in and out. So a lot of emotions went through my head during that incident. Um, and when I walked up to the scene, I didn't know if I was walking up to someone who's dead. So I took a minute, did some ocean breathing, and then went into the situation with a little bit of a calmer mind, a little bit of more of a grounded, I guess, energy to be able to handle what I was coming up to. So that was when I noticed the before and the after of the incident. I used ocean breathing. I went outside and I walked. Absorbed the elements. I just started bringing myself grounded and stopped reliving that moment as much as I could. And when I drove home that night, I knew that I didn't want alcohol. And I just wanted to go home and, maybe not go work out and do all the habits and stuff like that. But I was proud that I felt okay with myself and not needing that urge of drinking and using the tools that I learned in such little time. So that's
That's
it.
this is such a heavy story. Like every time I just visualize you walking and like trembling, shaking, and having to deal with it all. Like it's one thing to have to deal with the worker, but what's even more daunting is how all the other faces in that room are looking at you. And you
Yes.
feel that too. That,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it is all on me right now. And it's not so much the situation itself, it's the aftermath. That is the
Mm-hmm.
most impressive thing about this, because this happened when you hadn't even hit 30 days. So you were
Yeah.
still early on and things were still raw, in terms of your rewiring and your recovery and feeling like yourself again. And for you to have the pause in that moment, which ultimately then had an effect much later for the next few days, even where if I had come home from something like that, and maybe Gotham, you or Trish, you guys are, you can also consider this, like there would be a very overwhelming urge to just numb yourself from the last few hours of what you had to deal with. And it would have been okay. Not a single person would have objected to this and said, "Oh, what did you do?" You know, everybody would have understood. But that's not what this is about. It's about being presented with opportunities where you get to really test yourself. And if we can just shift our mindset around all these trials and tribulations as just another test to see how far you have come versus, oh God, why does this keep happening to me? You know, because you take the power of the situation away when it turns into something that is to be curious about versus something to run away from, right? So that's very, very impressive that you not only did you do it that night, but the next night. It took you 6 or 7 days to kind of overcome it all, but you chose to do
Mhm.
it the most authentic way possible.
Mhm.
What this is.
Yeah.
Um, Now that you're 2 months in, close to even 3 months, um, how is your life now? Like, can you give us, think of like bullet points before, after, in the different departments, your mental health, your physical health, like what can you tell us that what's changed in this time, specifically around how you handle stress or anxiety or, you know, the standard motherhood even, like it's tough, it's not easy. So what's the difference now?
I'm a calmer mother, for one, which is nice. And that was really important to me because I watched, or from my past, I grew up with watching alcoholic parents, which a lot of the people in this community have seen as well. Um, so there was not a lot of peace and there's not a lot of warmth. So before I seen myself as angry, frustrated at like that very quickly, punching holes in the wall because I get so mad in my room by myself, which is not okay, not cool. But I couldn't handle my anger. I couldn't handle the anxiety. I couldn't handle something upsetting my day, I guess. So that would be my before. And also unmotivated to do stuff. Weak, very weak, actually. I was having a hard time picking up my son. I was having a hard time with it. And that because I was just feeling hungover and weak or like days after and still in recovery. And that was a big, red flag for me of like, oh my God, like this is starting to literally eat me physically. I can't do the regular duties that I can do. Um, Fast forward to now, I am motivated. I am I can manage my emotions way better. My anger doesn't arise as like that fast anymore. Like I really need it to pile up. But I don't do that either because I utilize therapy and I also utilize breath work and meditation and journaling and all that kind of stuff that just helps me release that inner beast I guess I have inside of me. I guess physically, how I feel like, well, I look at in the mirror now from then to now. Then I was gray, weak, not a lot of muscle mass, blubbery, jiggly, I guess you would say,
Hey
because I was
man,
always
nothing wrong
bloated.
with that.
I was always bloated from alcohol. And to me, it's strange to me because I've always had an athletic form. I've always been an athlete. So to me, it was a shock looking in the mirror back then. And then now I've lost 15 pounds. I'm I'm in shape. I can see my abs again. I am energized. I look at my skin and my skin is clear and I have a glow. It was everything that, we put in that avatar sheet that we did in the beginning. I'm
Yeah,
seeing all of those things happen. Maybe not the financial part just yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
we're only 69 days in,
That's
so
right.
give it
That's
a.
right. Give
But
myself some grace.
speaking of the alcohol-free avatar, so let's talk about that for a second. So for those of you who are watching here, the alcohol-free avatar is one of the five exercises that we do as soon as we start the program. This one specifically is designed to help you craft the version of yourself in terms of what kind of physical change, mental habits, emotional health, financial health, spiritual health. In these areas, you put down sort of like a wish list. This is what I would like to see for myself, right? And then you put it down, and then you get to work. And now we're talking about how much of that actually came true. So back to the avatar. You were mentioning that minus the financial part, which of course that part takes time. The rest of it you're starting to see manifest in your reality.
I am. Yes. And it's exciting because, when I was writing it at that time, I was like, yeah, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. That sounds nice. So I hope that happens kind of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I wasn't completely like, this is what's going to happen. Like, I was not in that dedicated, motivated mindset yet. And then as I've been practicing, I'm now in that place emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, practicing Wicca again, to working out and doing jujitsu and martial arts and finding a great community, taking it on like complete physical sport. Um, mentally, I'm happier. My stressors are not super high and they're not activated so quickly, when something happens. And I think I covered all of those emotional,
Yeah.
mentally. Yeah. Yeah, all of them. So, except for the financial part, we're working on it. We're working on it. But I'm pretty proud of myself of where I've come and that I'm here and, I actually did it. So, it's shocking, but
That's
also happy. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's you surpass expectations. Like the kind of results that you're seeing typically happen in about 3-ish months. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's different for everybody. There's so many different factors that determine, because we're talking about your nervous system here. We're talking about building new habits. There's so many different variables that you couldn't possibly control all of at the same time, right? So the ones that you can control are you, the variable
Hmm.
of you, right? How much input, how much output, how do you manage things, how you make time, how you prioritize, all of that comes from you. I just give you the blueprint of,
Hmm.
this is what I think you should be doing. But speaking of the financial aspect, of course, there's lots of free options available, like AA, like there's also seems to be some kind of a mental block or I guess, idea that you shouldn't have to pay to get sober, right? I've come across that many times, especially in the AA communities. So the financial investment that you made for this, would you say that it was worth it? Or now that you're 3 months in, comparing when you had to make the investment versus now, like, what do you feel in terms of how that money got spent?
I think like yes, this is a good investment for sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to go like there, but I think it is a really good investment. And it's like it said in the beginning, it's very much different. And yeah, you could not pay to go sober, but when you're in like people like me who are in the shoes of I'm desperate for anything to help me, and I felt a little bit of a connection. Okay, maybe meditation. Okay, I like meditating. Okay, maybe I could try to evolve that skill and make it better. I think this is completely different. It is, like you said, it's science backed. I'm a result of that it works, and that I just couldn't be happier with the community, with the classes, with the courses, with the checkups. Like there's lots in this program that helps you in all different types of way if you need it. If you need to learn a new skill, if you need to learn how to be accountable, if you need community, and I mean likewise people as well. We're all here to to better ourselves, and just the difference between the traditional AA and the this group, the Breathesober group, is significantly different. And I think if you're really truly interested in investing in yourself and you want to put yourself first, I think that this is completely worth the investment, and it's going to give you tools for the rest of your life.
Wow, thank you. I truly means a lot. When I was building this from the ground up, I still feel like I'm still on the ground floor in many ways. But my one true motivation was I need to do something. Like I want to disrupt the recovery industry, if you want to call it that. And everybody, including a psychologist, highly regarded psychologist, therapist, 35 years of experience. They saw my initial business model, the family friend of mine. They're like, why do you want to do this? And I said, what do you mean? Like, there are 1.5 million resources available already. Like, why do you want to do this? Why not something else? I'm like, I don't know. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm going to do it. And they just looked at me like, what? This is already a done deal, man. Like, AA rules this. Like, that's how it is. And I was like, no, I
Mm-mm.
think I can do better. So,
What is the recovery rate? 33% with AA or something, like pretty low. I've actually, and don't get me wrong, yes, it's trial and error when you get sober. You're going to go up and down and you're going to, slip. That's okay. But I just don't think the AA, like that rating right there is like very an attractive number for a lot of
it's
people.
not even 33%. It's less than that. It
Okay, yeah.
is it is one in like 1 to 2 out of 10 will make it long term. Let's put it that
Wow.
way, right? So the
Yeah.
rest of them will end up because the other thing is success as well, right? So AA defines, and this is turning into a bit of an AA bash. It's only because AA is the biggest one. It's what everybody goes to. I went to first thing. I'm sure every single person here has had some experience with AA. And unfortunately, that mentality worked in the 1920s when this was established, even before that.
Mhm.
Not so much anymore. We're not hopeless addicts. We're not alcoholics. We're not, like, we don't have to surrender to the power of anything other than your own power. And I never agreed with that. I never ever thought that I am screwed for the rest of my life and that I always have to be a humble alcoholic. Like, I saw so many people say, "Hi, I'm Rob and I'm
I'm
25
an
years
alcoholic.
sober and I'm an alcoholic." And I'm like, how the fuck are you an alcoholic if you've been 25 years sober? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Come on.
Hmm.
Like, do you still
It's
beat your wife?
negative.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Well,
So,
and if you keep saying that in your head, maybe that's their tactic of like, reminding yourself that you do have a problem with alcohol. But also, I personally think that it's hard. It's like being hard on yourself of being like, this is my title. I'm an alcoholic. That's my title. You don't need a title. Just, just scratch that title and stop drinking and start doing the breath work.
the difference is healing versus abstinence. Because 3 people told me last week on my initial calls with them, all 3 of them said to me that with AA, you're giving them stuff about your life and you're reliving all those things that you relived and you have to talk about it, but nothing comes back. Nobody
Mm-mm.
takes that information and gives you some kind of guidance that, okay, I think for you, you should take this step. It's all
Mm-hmm.
just thank you for sharing, on to the next.
Carry on.
So for this individual who just poured their heart out, they get nothing in return. And it's
Yeah.
already taxing to have to sit there, admit that you have this insane problem that you are powerless against, and
Mm-hmm.
then get nothing in return. It is absolutely no wonder why myself and many, many, many other people who go to AA meetings, especially the first time, immediately go to the liquor store right after
Yeah.
and say, let me wash myself of everything that I just went through. and
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like I always walked away thinking, I'm not that bad. I'm okay. It's not, I still have lots of time if this is what it looks like. Right?
Yeah.
But that's not the right mentality. If you feel you have a problem, if it's bothering you, if you wake up and you're waking up with shame or guilt or regret of any kind, it's not working. If you
Mm-hmm.
are laboring through your day, it's not working. If you are
Mm-hmm.
just surviving, okay, get up, go to work like a zombie, make a paycheck, spend all of it in different places, and then do it all over again for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's not it either, right? So
Agreed.
it's the true happiness. That's my entire message with this whole thing is, do you wake up happy? Do you wake up thinking, holy shit, man, I love myself and I love my life. I love everybody and life is great. How often does that happen? If it happens often enough, at least 5 out of 7 days, you're better off than most people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I digress. I digress. But very, very interesting topic. Um,
Okay.
but again, I for anyone who's listening, we are not AA bashers. We don't hate AA. If you feel it is worth it, and by the way, it's not free. You still have to make donations at the end. There's the guy
Mm-hmm.
standing at the door waiting for your donation at the end, right? So Nothing is free in this world.
Different strokes for
Absolutely.
different folks. That's all.
Yes, indeed. And I just love the fact that, everybody notices that there's a certain vibe in here. And that's because I made it a point I've had to turn down many people over the years who are like, oh, I want to do this. I'm like, I don't think it's going to work. And it's only because they needed a different kind of help. I couldn't help them. I knew I couldn't. Right. So it's one of those things. But anyways, what is your advice to anyone who is watching this who's not in our community, who's on the fence, who's waking up and wishing that things were different, but succumbing to the same mindset in the evening? What is your uh, advice to anyone who's on the fence?
Sobriety itself is all about trial and error. And if you are feeling, hopeless or waking up with Sunday scaries every time you're drinking, the morning after, or the alcoholic flu, or it takes you 3 days to recover, or all these things, once you get a little older, the alcohol starts actually taking control over you. Everything's a choice. And everybody, sometimes some people are not big decision makers that don't want to make a choice. But at the end of the day, it is a choice. It is a choice for you to put the bottle down, to not go to the liquor store. It is a choice for you to get healthy. It is a choice for you to take control of your life. It is a choice to take that time for yourself. It's a choice. We are faced with choices all day, every day. So I don't want to say like making excuses for yourself of, oh, I'm not that bad or anything like that. If you're thinking about it already and you're getting that sober curious, I highly recommend taking a peek at what this community provides, and, having that consultation, because, there are all different types of resources out there to try. And if that AA is not working for you, if that addiction therapist is not working for you, you're starting to feel a little hopeless, make the choice to invest in yourself and take a look at this community of what it offers. And just, remember that when you are, doing the trial and error, it's all part of the sobriety journey. No one gets, barely anyone gets it on their first time.
Yeah, I didn't get it on my first try.
No, me neither. So it's going to happen. So give yourself some grace and try again, and keep trying again, and make that choice to keep trying.
That's the important part. Keep trying again. Keep trying
Yeah.
again. That is that you're always one try away from getting it.
That's right.
Right,
And just don't give up on yourself completely, because like I said, there's resources there. If you have never even tried any of them, try one. Make the choice to try one, okay? That's all I could say. As much as I just personally, I love this group, so I'm a big candidate to come over to this side and try it out. But there are resources out there. There are people you can talk to. And make the choice for yourself. Put yourself first.
Thank you.